Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of Versus. My name is Midnight Strike, and today we're going to take a look at two games that fundamentally jump-started the survival horror genre of video gaming, Resident Evil and Silent Hill. So, before we get into all that, though, I kind of wanted to go into a little bit of backstory on how the genre started in the first place. So, it started from a 1989 survival horror turn-based RPG called Sweet Home, and it was actually a license-based movie game because the movie for Sweet Home came out that same year, a little bit beforehand. So technically, the survival horror genre started from a licensed movie game. That's just kind of really weird to think about, isn't it? I mean, most movie games suck. At least that's the standard. So, anyways, Resident Evil spawned in 1996, about 7 years later, and it took a lot of elements from Sweet Home that made it so successful and turned it into a more action-oriented kind of game with zombies and stuff like that. So basically where it turned it into a more survival type game, whereas um, whereas Sweet Home was a horror game. I think it was more of, I mean, it was a survival horror game, but they upped the ante with the survival part in Resident Evil. So that came in 1996, and its sequel came in 1998, Resident Evil 2, and that's actually one of my favorite PlayStation games. So really fun, really awesome. The only thing that I can really say against it is the tank controls, which I never really liked tank controls to begin with. So, you know, but Resident Evil 2 was released in 1998, and that was a year before the first Silent Hill came out. So Silent Hill came out in 1999, and it practically took the world by storm with its amazing environments and just how they use the atmospheric elements of like the distance fog. Usually distance fog is used to cover up poor draw distances, but this game uses it in a different way. It uses it to sort of mask all the monsters around you so you can't see them coming, and it really ups the ante for the fear effect. So, and plus all the atmosphere. It's just a horrific, scary atmosphere, and that I really love about it. So, Resident Evil doesn't have that. That's one thing that's missing, and that's one thing that Silent Hill pioneered was the amazing use of the distance fog. And I gotta hand it to him. It was really good. So back to Resident Evil though. Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 3 came out in 2000, I believe, and then it was followed by Code Veronica. But Resident Evil 4, on the other hand, or it came out in 99. I'm not sure about the dates for Resident Evil 3, but Resident Evil 4 was supposed to be released in sometime around 2001, 2002, after Code Veronica, of course, was released for the Dreamcast, and then for the PS2 and GameCube and such. But it was, they were trying to revamp the series, reboot it, if you will, and what came out of it was a stylistic shooter type, where with fixed camera angles, and it was to boost the style of the character, or the coolness aspect, if you will. So that actually became Devil May Cry because the series producer actually had an opinion on no, this is straying too far from the roots of the series. Nowadays, creators of a game series would just say, oh, well, this is cool, I'm just going to put it out there, and if people don't like it, games change, and bands change, and stuff like that. So at least they wanted to stick with what made the series popular in the first place back then. So I'll kudos to them on that. So, and now we have two amazing series from Capcom. But Devil May Cry quickly went down the shitter this year, in my opinion at least. It might be a good game, DMC Devil May Cry, but Dante and I just don't like reboots. Just in general, I don't like reboots of the same series. So, like, The Amazing Spider-Man, I didn't really like that much. So, just, I think that they should stick with the story and not try to change everything around, because if someone plays the reboot and then goes back and plays the originals, they're going to be confused as shit. So, now I'm off topic. Anyways, I was gonna say, Devil May Cry. This is basically the first draft of Resident Evil 4. And yes, I know the annoying sticker right here. I'm probably gonna get a new case for it. But this is the first draft of Resident Evil 4. And the 4, the real 4, the 4 that we know and love now, today, came out 4 years later in 2005, and it was more of an action-based, action-oriented survival horror. It still had all the survival horror elements, and they just toned down a little bit on the jump scares. So, which in my mind probably, it isn't a bad thing. And then 5 and 6 came along, and they turned more into just shooters. I mean, you got like a fucking minigun practically, and I mean, what's so scary about that? I mean, they need to go back, and I heard they're going back and revamping it and making it into, basically what it was, the survival horror game where you barely have any ammo, you're trying to conserve it, and you are scared shitless for your life. So, I hope so. And then we have Silent Hill, which came out in 99, and then there was Silent Hill 2 that came out for the PS2, and it used the same kind of, draw distance fog kind of thing. So, and it caused a lot of controversy when they took that out in the HD collection, because you could see just bare textures, bare colors, and it was really downright disappointing to look at. So, they took out the distance fog, I believe that's what they did. They did something to it where the PS2 version actually looks better. So, that's kind of sad. And then there was Silent Hill 3, and there was Silent Hill Downpour. I think that's the most recent game up to this point thus far. So, anyways, as far as which one I like better, the plot is different, the controls feel different, the atmosphere is different. The plot in Resident Evil is more straightforward and action-y, action-oriented. Like, you actually have to go out and, do something. Whereas Silent Hill, its plot is more subtle, beginning with Harry Mason trying to find his daughter, Cheryl, who was lost in the town of Silent Hill. So, it's a little bit more subtle, and it builds up subtly on that. And it just puts you in the moment, and it emphasizes every little thing. Whereas Resident Evil, it just puts you in the action and says what's happening right off the bat, and you know what's happening because of the little intro in the beginning. So, it just, different ways of conveying the plot. I actually enjoy Silent Hill's atmosphere and the way they basically tell the plot. But I enjoy Resident Evil's plot, the straightforwardness of it a little bit more so. But that's not to say either of them are bad. Control-wise, I hate tank controls altogether. I hate them just in general. But they actually work for me in Silent Hill. That's like the only game, though. The only game whatsoever. But, for Resident Evil, I don't know, it's just when a bunch of zombies are coming at you and cornering you, and you try to use the tank controls and you mess up once, I mean, it's kind of like you get really annoyed. But, or I get really annoyed anyways. So, maybe I suck at the game, who knows. But tank controls don't work out nearly as well in Resident Evil as they do in Silent Hill. That's just my opinion. So you guys might think differently. This is a versus video. So overall, I would probably choose, this is a really tough question because they're both amazing games. They're both fundamentally jump-started the same genre. And, I mean, it's like Metal Gear Solid and Splinter Cell. You could go back and forth with comparisons all day. So, but in the end, I would probably just barely, though. Just barely. They're both amazing games. I would probably have to go with Silent Hill, but just, like, this is Silent Hill, this is Resident Evil. They're barely on top of each other, So, but, hey, this is a versus video. I want to know what you guys think. This series was meant to, get some discussion, generate some discussion. So, I don't know. I'm gonna be posting a poll on my Facebook every other week for versus. So don't miss it. If you don't have my Facebook liked, It's down in the description below. It's just Facebook.com/Midnight Strike 3625. That's where I post all of my stuff, all of my title cards for my videos, and it's just, I like to think it's well organized. So um if you like my videos, just subscribe, comment, and I want to know, what do you like better, Resident Evil or Silent Hill? Thanks very much. This is Midnight Strike 3625. Keep calm and rock on.